I, a 28-year-old, need some advice on this situation. About 7 years ago, my younger brother Jay, who is now 21, was involved in a horrific car accident. We lost our mother and Jay's twin sister in the process, and he ended up with a very severe traumatic brain injury, TBI, leaving him essentially in a vegetative state. Since then, I have become his primary caregiver and have paid for every treatment and care home he needs. After the crash, my dad became very distant with both me and my youngest sister R, who is 18 years old. Even though R and I weren't particularly close due to the age gap and her being closer to my late other sister, I tried to be there for both of them. However, I made it my mission to be there for Jay, spending hours talking to him and desperately hoping to catch a glimpse of the brother I once knew, as he was obviously the worst off from this. As the older sibling, I stepped up for R too. After visiting Jay at the hospital, I go home to cook for her and our dad, attempting to understand the impact the accident had on her, even though we were never really the kind to talk about our feelings with each other. I don't know why, but since she was 11, R has refused to visit Jay at his care homes, which basically shattered any potential relationship we could have had due to Jay taking up so much of my time. I initially thought it was a phase, but she hasn't seen Jay since it happened. I try to make conversation over dinner, but she constantly shuts herself off. But yesterday she confronts me, accusing me of neglecting her for the past few years and feeling like she's always been lower priority to Jay. She even says it might have been better if Jay hadn't survived the accident, claiming she'd get more attention from me. Attention I've tried to give her, but she pushes away. I obviously defend myself, explaining how I've given her countless chances to connect and be a part of the whole family, supports family concept. I list the responsibilities I've taken care of for her, from feeding her to providing a roof over her head, but it's not enough for R. She insists I need to do more, telling her girlfriend how unimportant I am to her, and even claiming I've been a jerk to her for years. I've given her so many chances to visit Jay and to talk to me about her life. I cannot remember the last time she sat down and chatted with me about stuff. I can see from her side that she may feel neglected due to my involvement with Jay and her lack of it, but she chose this. She chose this lack of connection between us. Perhaps I've misunderstood her perspective entirely, and she could have simply struggled to reach out and communicate how she felt with me. So am I the jerk for prioritizing my severely disabled younger brother over my sister, who seemingly wants nothing to do with him or me? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I'm sorry for the loss your family has faced over the years. Can I ask why you're supporting the family? What is your dad doing? Does he not have a relationship with Jay either? Does he not talk to R about her behavior towards Jay and yourself? Comment 2. No idiots here, no one's the jerk here. You have a responsibility to your brother and your sister, but your sister can feel upset. But she also has to put effort on her part to join as well. Comment 3. No idiots here. Your sister was young when this happened. She's likely hurt and still confused about losing 2 close family members. Get her into some therapy. Now for the update. It's like my life decided to take all the family drama and compress it into the most intensive 2-week period imaginable. First off, Jay had a breakthrough. I'm talking a serious, tear-inducing breakthrough. His speech therapist called, practically shouting with joy, saying Jay managed to string together a full coherent sentence for the first time in years. It was just, "I want water, please," but it was monumental for us. The therapist thinks it's a sign his brain is repairing neural pathways and there is potential for further recovery. My heart nearly burst through my chest with hope. In the midst of this high, R reached out to me. Apparently she saw my post on an advice subreddit from a friend's account. She was furious, to put it mildly, that I'd shared our family business with strangers. R accused me of seeking sympathy and being a drama queen. We had a heated argument over the phone which ended with her hanging up on me. But then, 2 days later, in a complete 180, R showed up at my doorstep sobbing. She confessed that her anger was really rooted in guilt for abandoning Jay and me and fear of facing the painful memories. She'd been in therapy, unbeknownst to me, grappling with the trauma of our family's past. We spent hours talking, and for the first time in years, I felt like I had my sister back. Now hold on to your chairs because the story takes another twist. Our estranged father, who I mentioned became distant after the accident, got wind of Jay's improvements and R's return to the fold. He showed up unannounced one evening, looking older and more broken than I remembered. Dad broke down, asking for forgiveness, saying he'd been in a dark place since the accident and the loss of Mom and Jay's twin had shattered him. We're a skeptical bunch, and R and I didn't know how to take this sudden appearance, but we let him in, wary of his intentions. After hours of intense conversation, tears, and airing out years of pent-up frustrations, we've cautiously started to explore the idea of being a family again. It's messy and there's so much to work through. It's like we're all relearning how to be around each other. Dad's been visiting Jay too, and there's a visible change in Jay's demeanour when he's around. R is planning to join Jay at his next therapy session, and I'm trying to balance cautious optimism with the reality that our family is forever changed. It's a lot of healing, a lot of pain, and a bewildering amount of hope. These 2 weeks have been a testament to the unpredictability of life and the complex nature of family. We're taking it day by day, but one thing is clear: we haven't given up on each other yet. Now, for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. Sharing your story can be therapeutic, and it's not like you were sharing secrets for malicious reasons. It's natural to seek support when dealing with intense family drama. R's reaction was probably more about her own struggles than your actions. It's great that you reconciled and are working through things as a family. Keep focusing on healing and don't let anyone make you feel bad for needing an outlet. Comment 2, you're the idiot. It's not okay to share personal family matters without consent, especially when it involves someone's medical progress. You violated Jay's privacy, and while R might have overreacted, her anger was justified. You need to learn to respect boundaries and find support in a way that doesn't potentially harm your family's trust in you. Comment 3, not the idiot. Your family is going through a lot, and it's heartwarming to see you're all trying to stick together. Your dad coming back and everyone working on their issues is a big step. People underestimate how much sharing can help when you're in a tough spot. R might have been upset at first, but it seems like she understands now. Keep taking it day by day. Healing is never a straight line. Now for the next story. My significant other and I are expecting a baby boy in a few months, and the other day, my mother dropped off baby clothes and some items she has saved throughout the years with my sisters and me. We are all in our late 20s, early 30s now. It was a lot to go through, 7 80-litre moving boxes, but I ended up picking out about 15 items altogether. When my mum came to pick up the rest, she said it was okay, but she seemed visibly hurt, and later on, she tried to convince me to take more stuff. She even wanted me to accept an item that had visible tears in the fabric, saying I would save $50. When I argued against it, she said that's just normal wear and tear. I have to admit I didn't pick out a lot. But here's the problem. 1. Most of it was very specific to girls' clothing. I am all for dressing my baby in gender-neutral clothes, but I feel like there's a fine line between clothes being gender-neutral and dressing my boy in a lot of dresses and pink tops. 2. A lot of it was worn out and/or faded in colour. Many of the toys were also sticky. 3. A lot of it was also just generally outdated. This was stuff we wore in the 90s. And while many clothes can be timeless, some styles are very specific to a certain generation. Please don't get me wrong. I appreciate my mum's intentions, and I realise it means something to her to see her grandchild in clothes my sisters and I wore as kids. But it also means something to me to see my baby in clothes I have chosen. I can't fill his entire closet with clothes that one of his grandmas picked out 30 years ago. I tried talking to my sister about this, and she said I was being ungrateful because using handed-down stuff means I don't have to buy my own. Of course, if I were struggling with money and couldn't provide my boy with the necessary items, I would happily accept anything that was passed down, but that is just not the case. My significant other and I are financially comfortable, so am I the a-hole? Am I really being ungrateful here? At first I felt like I was completely in the right, but now I'm starting to wonder if I'm actually being selfish. ETA, edited to add, because I see a lot of people suggesting it. If I take it in, donating any of it is not an option. My mother places great sentimental value on these items, which is the reason she is trying to pass them on. She wants to clear up space in her garage without getting rid of them. I would be expected to keep all of it in my storage until my kid's kid could use it, and if I donated it, it would be viewed as an ultimate betrayal. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. It sounds like she has a borderline hoarding problem. 7 giant boxes of stuff from 20-30 years ago. Ack. Hoarders often have trouble getting rid of stuff, and sometimes one of the few ways they can comfortably reduce their hoard is to pass it on to someone else, often another person with a hoarding problem. Good on you for not falling prey to her hoarder attack. Comment 2. She holds more value on the items than you do, because every item has a memory. It's not about saving you money, but sentimentality isn't always practical. Your sister may say the same when Mum tries to give her ripped and faded baby clothes. Not the idiot. Comment 3. No idiots here. Your mum was really well-intentioned, but she should also realistically recognise that you may not want much of it for all of the reasons you mentioned. Now, for the update. I wish I weren't coming back with the news I have today. It's been a heavy month and I'm still reeling from everything that's happened. Our baby boy, who we were so eagerly preparing for, arrived much earlier than expected. The premature birth came with a host of complications, and despite the tireless efforts of the doctors and nurses, our son couldn't make it. The pain is indescribable. Every night when I close my eyes, I see the little onesies and the soft blankets my mother had given us. They're still laid out in his untouched nursery, a silent testament to a future we had so lovingly envisioned. I haven't had the strength to pack them away. My mother, despite the hurt I unintentionally caused her before, has been our rock. She's hardly left our side, helping us navigate our grief while grappling with her own. I see the hurt in her eyes, the double-edged sorrow of losing a grandchild and watching her own child suffer. In my last post, I worried about being selfish, about not valuing the history and love woven into those childhood clothes. Now, I'd give anything to dress my son in every single piece she brought, no matter how outdated or worn. My sister too has been by our side. All past disagreements have melted away under the weight of our loss. We've found solace in each other, a shared grief that has somehow brought us closer. We're learning to forgive, to cling to the love that remains when everything else is stripped away. I can't help but reflect on how I handled things with my mother before. I was so caught up in creating the perfect experience for my son that I overlooked the depth of emotion tied to these old clothes. They weren't just fabric, they were memories, hopes, and a grandmother's love. In the end, we're navigating this new reality, one where our son's laughter will never fill our home, where those boxes of baby clothes represent a future unlived. I'm learning to cherish the past, to hold on to the love that comes in all forms, even in faded, sticky hand-me-downs. To those who offered advice and shared their thoughts, thank you. Your words meant more than you might realize, especially now. Hold your loved ones close. Cherish the moments, the small things. They're what truly matter. Now for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. Your grief is profound and personal. Regret is a natural part of mourning, and it's clear you're reflecting deeply. Cherishing loved ones is always important, and it's never too late to start. Your realization shows growth, not fault. Comment 2. You're the idiot for not appreciating those baby clothes earlier. Your family was trying to show love and support, but it seems like you only realize their value now that it's too late. Grief is no excuse for not recognizing the efforts of those around you. Comment 3. Not the idiot at all. It's difficult to understand the emotional weight of certain things until a moment of loss. Your family's support shows their love, and your regret is just another part of the grieving process. You're human, and it's okay to learn and grow from this heartbreaking experience. Now, for the next story, my friend, 21 years old, and I, 22 years old, spent Thanksgiving break together at her house because I'm not from the US and basically had nowhere to go. During the drive back, she was telling me how she was bullied all through high school. I listened and replied with things like, "Some people are just jerks, and at least it's over now." But I did sound very disinterested. The thing is, we've been friends for 3 years, and every time we hang out, she tells me the exact same story. So after hearing it a million times, I'm over it. This time, she noticed I didn't care, so she said, very passive-aggressive, "I wouldn't expect you to care because you clearly had an awesome high school experience. I guess those are the perks of having pretty privilege and being popular." She was wrong. I was bullied awfully as a teen and had a small friend group in high school, none popular. Also, I'm pretty now because I started a strict skincare and exercise regime, but before I was fat and had bad acne. So I do understand where she's coming from, and I told her so. Here's where I think I may have been the jerk. After telling her I wasn't pretty nor popular in high school, I added, "The difference is I don't live in the past." I get it, but I'm done listening to the same thing over and over. Move on, you're being dramatic. After I said that, she didn't speak to me the rest of the ride, and then texted saying I was a total witch for invalidating her feelings. I don't think I was a witch in any way. I understand her very well, but I was also raised to always keep moving forward and leave the past where it belongs. My sister says I acted normally, but my best friend said I was harsh. Should I apologize? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It depends on the nature of the bullying and how you said what you said. In general, with no other info, I'd say not the idiot. Comment 2. There are better ways to say that you don't want to discuss a topic any longer. You were unnecessarily rude. You're the idiot. Now, for the update. After a lot of introspection, I finally realized how my reaction to my friend's story might have made things worse rather than healing them. So, I reached out to her to apologize. It was a tough conversation, but absolutely worth it. She admitted that she's been struggling with those high school memories for so long because she never really felt heard or understood. My words, no matter how unintentionally, had made her feel dismissed all over again. Hearing this broke my heart. I shared with her for the first time the full extent of my own bullying experiences. We both cried, realizing how much we'd both held inside and how our pasts had been haunting us in different ways. It was a vulnerable moment for both of us, but it brought us closer than ever. Since then, we've started to help each other heal. We joined a support group for adults dealing with past bullying trauma. It's been eye-opening to see how many people carry these scars into adulthood and how powerful it can be to share and listen in a supportive environment. Last week, we went back to our old high school, just the two of us, and walked the halls together. We talked openly about what we went through right there where it happened. It was a surprisingly cathartic experience, like we were taking back the power those memories held over us. We've also made it a point to celebrate our strengths and achievements now, without letting the ghosts of our high school years overshadow our accomplishments. She's become an incredible advocate for anti-bullying programs, and I found a new passion in volunteering with youth at our local community centre. I'm not saying it's all perfect now or that we don't have moments where those old feelings creep back in, but we've learned the importance of truly listening to each other and validating each other's feelings. Our friendship has grown stronger because of it, and we've both found a sense of peace that was missing before. I'm grateful for the tough moments that lead to growth and for friends who stick with you as you both learn and heal. It's a journey we're on together, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Now, for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. Your initial reaction might not have been perfect, but the important thing is you recognized your mistake and took steps to make amends. Apologizing and joining a support group shows real effort to change and be there for your friend. It's impressive how you both turned a painful situation into something positive by advocating against bullying. Growth like that is what really counts. Comment 2. You're the idiot for initially making your friend's pain about you. Listening is key in a friendship, and it took you too long to realize that. It's great that you're making amends, but remember, it's not about your intentions, but how your actions affect others. It's good to see you're both healing now, but don't forget the lessons learned about empathy and support. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Sharing your own experiences with bullying wasn't to overshadow your friend, but to create a bond and understanding. It's beautiful that you both found a way to heal together and even became advocates. Revisiting your old high school must have been tough, but doing so is a brave step in reclaiming your narrative. Keep celebrating those victories, big or small. They're significant strides in healing. Now for the next story. So my grandparents made my family a cake, enough for 4 people, me, parents, brother. We all ate our slices except my brother. The next day my brother asks where his piece of cake was. Someone else had eaten it. For some context, we get snacks for our lunches since my brother and I are in college, and my brother has a habit of eating a lot of the snacks and leaving little to eat later in the week. I asked, and my stepdad had eaten it, reasoning that since my brother eats a lot of the snacks, he was justified in eating the cake. I disagreed and told him that he shouldn't have done that, you can imagine why, and said that he was no better than my brother to do so. The rest of my family was against me, which I can't understand. I know it's not really a huge deal, but I just think that my stepdad eating the cake was unnecessary and rude. Now for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post didn't have any comments. Now for the update, I figured it's about time I gave you all an update, especially after the support I received here. After the whole thing blew over, my brother was still a little upset, no surprise there. But what I didn't expect was that my stepdad actually felt pretty guilty about it. One evening, he sat my brother down and they had a heart-to-heart. Turns out stepdad grew up in a big family where food was scarce, and he admitted he sometimes acted on old habits without thinking. They both apologized to each other, my brother for overreacting about the cake, and my stepdad for eating it without asking. The best part? Stepdad decided to make it up to him by organizing a family baking day. We all got together and made a bunch of cakes, each person picking their flavor. It was a mess. There was flour everywhere, but we had a blast. My brother's lemon drizzle was a hit, and stepdad's attempt at a chocolate ganache actually turned out pretty fantastic. It didn't stop there. This little tradition has stuck, and now we do it once a month. It's brought the family closer together, and it's actually helped my stepdad and brother bond. They even team up on some recipes which I never thought I'd see. It's like that one slice of cake that went missing ended up creating something much sweeter for all of us. Oh, and to top it off, my grandparents were so touched by the effort to make amends that they've started teaching us some of their own traditional recipes. It's been an amazing way to connect with our roots and each other. Who knew cake could do so much? Now for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. Love how your stepdad turned a small mistake into a heartwarming family tradition. It's not just about the cake, it's about acknowledging the mistake, apologizing, and then finding a creative solution that brings everyone closer. Plus, involving the grandparents, genius. Family traditions like these are priceless and teach everyone about forgiveness and togetherness. Kudos to your stepdad for initiating this. Comment 2. You're the idiot for making a big deal out of the initial cake incident. Your stepdad had a moment of weakness and he more than made up for it. It's not easy to acknowledge our shortcomings, especially with family. The fact that he apologized and took steps to mend fences shows a lot of character. Holding on to grudges over cake just seems petty when you look at the bigger picture of family unity. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Your stepdad's actions show his true character. Instead of getting defensive, he opened up about his past and made a genuine effort to connect with your brother. And look at the result, a new family tradition that's about more than just baking. It's about sharing stories, building relationships, and passing down heritage through recipes. This is the kind of stuff that strengthens family bonds. Your stepdad is a gem. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.